My first year on tour was really a great year. I'm really proud of the season that I had last year. I come up a little bit short of that ultimate goal of making the Cup this past year. I finished 47th in the points. That's a little shy of making the Cup. You take the top 35, goes on to the Forest Wood Cup, $300,000 tournament, and a ton of publicity for your sponsors and everybody connected to you, even yourself. It's a really big deal for you. I didn't make that. I had 2 tournament finishes that really kind of put a dagger in my results, my year-end results for this year. And those 2 tournaments was Okeechobee and Pickwick. But even on those 2 events, I'm really pleased with my thought process. When I look back on it, I can see exactly where I should have went left or right or zig instead of zag, that kind of deal. So all in all, as long as you can see those mistakes, you can go back and make an adjustment and correct those and put those in your internal log and correct them the next year. So I'm really pleased with the way everything went down. Being my rookie season this year on the FLW Tour, we went to a lot of places I'd never seen before. And a lot of those places that I'd never seen before, I still cash checks in. So that was a huge confidence builder. I gained a lot of confidence and a lot of strategies and techniques that I'm not necessarily good at or that I really do a lot. And when you have those good days out there on the water, you really build on your confidence. And in the sport, confidence is everything. Having it in your heart and the will to get out there and work hard at it is one thing, but when you start to build confidence in tactics and techniques, I think that's where you really start to separate yourself, because so much of it is up here in your head when you're out there on the water. Pretty much all of us have the same equipment and the same technical abilities out there, but just processing those small little details that happen throughout the day is what really a lot of times separates, a triple-digit finish from a top 20 finish a lot of times. And I had a lot of good days. There were a lot of days where I had a bad first day and came back the next day, and I just looked at it overnight, what happened between practice, that off day, and what happened on the first day of the tournament, and I was able to kind of just scrap up enough intelligence to get out there and have a good second day. So, overall, looking at last year, I'm very pleased, and I think I'm carrying a lot of momentum going into next year, and I'm looking to build on those things that I got a good foundation for on my rookie season, and just really looking forward to going out there next year. And I want to crack, really, I think I'm due for a win. I think it's just right around the corner. Just, there's a couple events this year where if I'd done 1 or 2 things a little different, that turns a 20th or 30th place finish into a top 10. And if you're in the top 10, you got a good chance of winning most of the time. Looking ahead to 2017, this will be my sophomore season on tour, and this is a year that can make or break a guy's career, because you're so far into it now that you really got to make a valiant jump at it, and that's what I plan to do this year. This is giving me my sophomore season, and I hope it's the start of a lifelong mission of tournaments, fishing the FLW Tour. But how I've been preparing, this is the off season. It's December. Pretty much we're just 3 or 4 weeks out from really getting deep into digging into what the schedule is and what we're going to be doing for this year. So just recently I've really started to dive down into what the tournaments are, where we're going, and what I need to be doing, the thought processes, what it's going to take to win. And oftentimes going into these tournaments, like we're going to a couple places I've never seen before, and I may not get to pre-practice on a couple of these places, but how I prepare is it's a conglomerate of a couple things. I've already been getting in some paper maps. I'm a big guy on paper maps. That just helps me get a huge. I can see the scope of the entire place. Everybody always laughs and says, "Oh, you got GPS, you don't need paper maps." Well, looking at my graph, I really can't get a good idea of the scope of the entire place. I can only see a certain section of the lake at one time. But with a paper map, a big 24 by 36 paper map, I can see a large portion of the lake at one time. So I can tell what area has the most creeks, which has the flattest area, and I can compare those areas a lot more quickly than I can when I'm looking at a graph. And it's just good when you're sitting around the house and something hits you in the head, and you can just kind of whip out that map and just kind of take a look at it. So I've been doing that, ordering maps in, kind of looking at what tackle I need to use. I've been trying to research and see what results, what I need to be looking to catch weight-wise in a lot of these events, because that's really important. When you're out there fishing, you need to know, cashing checks is paramount at the tour level. You got to have those $10,000 plus checks to go on to each event. So, you need to know where you need to be. A lot of times, of course, you hear the term that's used so much. You're swinging for the fence, swinging for the wind. Of course, you want to catch the most you can, but a lot of times when we go to these places, the biggest thing, you just need to figure out how to get a bite on your hook. That is paramount. That is not easy a lot of times with 160 of the best pro fishermen in the world and about the same amount of co-anglers that are pretty darn good too. The lake gets beat up and the bite is almost always stingy. So, I want to see where I need to stack up. Do I need to be able to just catch 8 pounds if I'm not really on them that week? I need to catch 2 8-pound bags. Do I need to be shooting for 15 to 16 just to get a check? That's really important. So I've been looking at results to see where I need to be in a lot of those events as well. I'll try to go see a couple places. I'll probably spend a couple days down at Guntersville just looking at the schedule. There's a couple places that I've never seen, don't have an idea. There's not a lot of tournaments there, so that makes it hard to tell what kind of research you need to be doing on a lot of these places. My thoughts on the schedule this year, we're going to start off for the first time. I'm so happy that we're not starting off in Florida. Of course, it's not going to be near as comfortable where we're starting off. The schedule goes like this. We're going to start off at Lake Guntersville in Alabama. Their second stop is going to be Lake Travis in Austin, Texas, I think it is. Our third stop is going to be Harris Chain. I'm not sure what town or city that's in. And then I think from Harris Chain in Florida, we'll go over to Beaver Lake in Arkansas. Really looking forward to those places. The Arkansas lakes, Midwest lakes, they fish a little bit like how our fish transition here at home. So we'll go from Arkansas, I think, to Lake Cumberland in Kentucky. That's going to be another fishery that I'm pretty excited to get to. It's going to be a normal fishery, normal river, no grass, no flats, none of that weird stuff that I'm not used to. From Kentucky, we'll go to La Crosse, Wisconsin, to Mississippi River, upper Mississippi River up there. It's going to be a weird fishery as well. A couple of different pools. You can lock up the different pools on the Mississippi River. Could be smallmouth, could be largemouth. It could be flooded out that time of year because it's going to be early May. It could be just breaking ice, or they could be spawning. For sure, it's going to be something centered around the spawn in May there. I think we're going there extremely early, so there's no telling. I kind of wouldn't be surprised if that event's actually rescheduled. And then from Wisconsin, we'll go to Potomac River in Maryland. So, I've been to a couple of those places. I have never been to the Potomac, never been to Mississippi, never been to Lake Travis, or I've never been to Cumberland. So 4 out of the 7 I've never seen before. So it'll be interesting. Looking at my favorites on the schedule, there's the schedule's a little intimidating to me, honestly, quite honestly. Guntersville is quite intimidating. I know I got to catch them there. We're going there extremely early. So I understand that, you better catch them, but to get bites on Guntersville is not as easy as it looks on paper. So looking at some of the events that I'm looking most forward to are going to be some of those Clearwater lakes that are like the lakes that I grew up on. Lake Hartwell, Lake Huey, Clark Seals, clear deep lakes are the ones I'm looking most forward to. So I'm interested about Travis. I think the weights are going to be very low there. They've said the waters come up. Travis is one of those, they control the lake level, 30 foot fluctuations in water level. So I think the lake has been up, so there's a lot of brush there. But I'm assuming it's still going to be a lot of those bottom transitions that's going to play out there. So that plays out a lot like the lakes here at home at Lake Hartwell and the Savannah River chain that I'm used to. So I'm thinking the fish are going to move and transition the way that I'm used to seeing them transition. So I'm looking forward to those, to Lake Travis. I'm definitely looking forward to get up to La Crosse, Wisconsin. I think that's going to be a cool place. Of course, I come from the old rocky red clay banks of South Carolina, but since we don't have grass and we don't have that kind of habitat, I really enjoy when I get to fish in those places. I haven't really had a knockout finish in any kind of grass fishery yet, but I enjoy fishing that way. I don't really talk about that a lot. So I'm looking forward to getting up there, putting the spinning rods away, getting out my braid and a heavy rod, getting the frog and the flipping and getting with it up there. What's my least favorite tournament? You know, I probably, it's hard for me to say my least favorite because I never look at fisheries like that. Even when I have a bad tournament, most of the time I walk away wondering what I could have did better to do well there. Because I'm a fisherman, I love to fish, I love to learn different things about the sport of bass fishing. So it's hard to say what would be my least favorite tournament. I can say there are some tournaments that are definitely intimidating to me that I have a little bit more concern about. And, you know, the Guntersville tournament is going to be one I've got some concern about. It's going to take a lot of weight because it's Guntersville. It's not easy to catch fish at Guntersville. It's just the way it is. People, you know, it's I won't say it's overrated because it definitely lives up to the hype, but it can take 30 pounds a day to win. And don't be surprised if you go there and you have trouble catching, you know, 5 or 6 bites a day. So that was intimidating to me. I'm not gonna lie. That's very intimidating for sure. After that, probably the Florida tournament at Harris Chain. Florida's been very hard on your boy over the years, and the fish move very differently there. I'm sure that's going to have something to do with the spawn, even though we're going pretty late in March. And there's several different little lakes that you've got to fish. And in Florida, if you're not in the productive water, you don't get to participate in the tournament that's going on that week. What are some of the goals that I want to have going into next year? Most of the time, I've really restructured the way that I set goals and the things that I want to achieve going into a fishing season. You know, prior to last year or this year, prior to this year, the way I would set goals up would be result oriented. I would come out in the beginning of December, January, just like everybody else does, and my goals may be 3 top 10 finishes and to make the championship and blah blah blah. I really kind of restructured the way that I think about the goals that I want to have, and going into next year, my goals for next year are almost identical to the ones that I had this year, because I went through a period of just really bad tournaments where I wasn't doing good and I didn't know why. And I knew it wasn't ability because I knew I could fish just as good as anybody else, and I was just having horrible finishes. And I've learned to really set my goals more process-oriented is the term for it. They're process-oriented goals. So instead of saying I want a top 10 finish, I think in my mind what would lead to a top 10 finish, and my goals are to just do those things. So I think one of the things to come up with a top 10 finish is a guy that's always positive, maximizes his time on the water, pays attention to little changes in weather, things like that. So my goals going into next year are very simple. It's just to stay in the process in every event. Stay positive, work as hard as I can, stay on the water daylight to dark, be at the ramp before the sun comes up, stay organized. Staying organized is a big thing out there because that saves time. You only have 3 days to practice anyway. And if every little bit that time I can save is paramount, and just to take my time and not get frustrated, I don't have to win practice. Is the sort of the thought process that I carried into 2016, and I want that momentum to carry over into 17. Is not really get in a rush, and when you get in a rush, the faster the day goes by seemingly. And really take my time, take a deep breath. Really look at what's going on and start the process. Just fish like I normally would when I'm out there walking the river like I've done all summer long. Just concentrate on getting the next bite and pushing all the other stuff out of the way, and just really staying on focused on the process of each cast and getting the next bite. It's as simple as that. That's all I want to do is keep a level head going into the 2017 season. The guy that's always positive. 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 Always positive. Maximizes time on the water, pay attention to little changes